Thank you, Carly. Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday evening. My name is Agassia. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Executive Director of Measure 110. And I'll be assisting Dharma with facilitating today's meeting. The Oversight and Accountability Council welcomes and encourages community input. Members of the public are invited to submit public comments or get on our interested parties' email list by emailing oha.measure110@oha.oregon.gov. And that email address and more information about the council can be found at the Measure 110 OAC website. OAC members have asked that OHA and other staff are present in the meeting space, introduce themselves in the chat. Please share your role with the agency, and if you are a subject matter expert, your area of expertise. And I'll turn it over to Dharma for opening remarks.
Hi, folks. Dharma Mirza, she, her pronouns, one of the trade chairs. I think it's my final meeting as a trade chair, but I just want to let you know that the agenda today is small. It's just a preliminary burn award reconsideration, discussion, and vote. I'm going to pass it back to Carly for attendance.
Thank you, Dharma. So we just heard Ami's going to be a little late. Amy?
I'm here.
Hey, Amy. Caroline?
Here.
Caroline. Dharma?
Here.
Hi. Hubert? Hunter?
Here.
Hi, Hunter. Jackie?
Here.
Jackie? Keisha? Leticia? Linda? Mason?
Here.
Hi, Mason. Melissa?
Here.
Hey, Melissa. Morgan?
Howdy. Here.
Hi, Morgan. Ryan? Sabrina?
I'm here.
Hi, Sabrina. Zeb?
I'm here. Thank you.
Sam?
I'm here.
Thank you. Annalise. And we have quorum with 11. Back to you, Dharma.
I'm just going to pass it over to Abby to get us started on the discussion here.
Thank you, Dharma. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you all. Lovely humans this Friday evening. We have on my calendar until 7, but that might not be needed. Let's dive in and see how the rest of the time ahead of us goes. So we left off on Wednesday because we ran out of time, being unable to have y'all vote on the award adjustments for burn participants, for burn awardees. And so just to re-center kind of where we're at and what's ahead of us for the rest of the evening is just a reminder of a few things. One is the adjustments that you've all received. I sent an update PowerPoint deck last night around 6:30. They are minor adjustments to the awards you already made that really focus on two things. Well, three things. One is ensuring that 2022 to 2025 grant amounts are really the baseline, and ensuring that the new awards are not significantly lower or out of this world significantly higher, to create more equality in those grants, with the purpose of sustainability and ensuring, even though there's a massive drop in cannabis tax revenue, that organizations that you stood up are able to continue those services through the next grant cycle. So all of what you've already seen and we're going to talk about tonight is all based on your decisions. And the same is true with the formula. So y'all voted on the formula, I believe it was in October, to be a guideline. And the formula does have some flex in it, and you'll see that as well. But in no way, shape, or form do the recommendations that you're considering today veer from that. I want to make sure that that's said out loud as well. I also want to make sure that I thought it was also important, and we talked about this, there's making sure that just because there are lots of organizations in some counties and fewer organizations in others. So there are some just differences in how the numbers look bearing out. And I went from county to county to just increase the equality as much as possible between the awardees for continuity and consistency's sake. My ask for you all tonight is to stay as engaged as possible. I will screen share here in just a minute and we'll jump right into Umatilla County where we left off. If you need to step out, please let us know so that if we're going to lose quorum, we can be prepared to do so. And because we've already talked about the methodology and have sent out the slides twice and we're really clear, I believe we're clear about what's ahead of us. I'm not going to go line by line by line, but just take a minute and kind of summarize what's on the slide before you and offer a conversation and a motion to move towards a vote. Also know that if anybody has any alternatives you'd like to propose, please do that as soon as we open up a conversation about a particular county. And we've got Jason for now, and Ariana will be stepping in to help do any math in the background. And please know, I spent about another 6 hours with this spreadsheet because of a math error. And so I was able to do two things. One is allocate all of the funds and help ensure that places where organizations that did see kind of where there was less equality, you know, folks who were hovering around like 60, 70%, I was able to bring some of those up closer to kind of a current service level, which is great. And there's about $500,000 left over. And you'll see at the end, I'm proposing that that be used for Tillamook County because recall Tillamook County applicants, nobody applied for screening or assessments and we need to make sure those service areas are covered. So that would provide some additional resource for Tillamook, which their rewards are pretty minimal because of statements or questions from our tri-chairs or OAC members before I screen share and we'll jump back into Umatilla County.
I'll say something real quick. Thank you everybody for being here. It's been such a journey for us to get to this point. And I'm proud to be a member of this council with every single one of you. Thank you for all your hard work, and OHA, I want to say thank you for all the work that you're doing behind the scenes that people don't see as well, putting this stuff together. Thank you very much for that.
Any other comments or questions before I jump in? Donna.
Yeah, I just want to echo kind of what Zeb was sharing too, and just letting folks know too that this again, just reiterating that this is a really impossible decision to be making, and that we really advocate for more funding for the council for folks out there watching that like we just don't have enough money to fund everything that we need to fund, and I would really just encourage folks to that are watching or policymakers watching to kind of realize that we need more support to be able to expand out and get as much recovery for the state as we can. Thanks. And I just want to keep in mind, everyone, that we're doing our best with a very limited pool of money. So that's it.
Thank you, Donna. And y'all spent a lot of hours already deliberating and urgency was paramount then and urgency continues to be paramount, even though I'm trying to breathe deeply and take us through this evening calmly. We on the Measure 110 team at OHA would like to engage in negotiations immediately. So the sooner y'all are able to come to a vote, the better. It is because the worst thing that could happen would be any disruption in services. And I think that should be the ultimate goal. Is let's keep on keeping on. So we've already condensed our negotiation timeline from 8 weeks down to 4. And we need time to engage with all of the applicants and ensure that they've got what they need to do what's possible for Oregon. So with that, anything else before I screen share? Nothing? Okay, here we go. Okay, first, in addition to Amy, I'm gonna give folks a minute to orient to a call for conflicts for Umatilla County. And the applicants include, can I get a thumbs up if I'm showing you the right screen? Okay, thanks. Community Counseling Solutions, Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living, Boulder Care, Life Intention LLC, and Oregon Washington Health Network. Are there any actual potential conflicts for Umatilla County?
I do have an actual and factual conflict.
Thank you, Amy. Okay. So this is where we left off on Wednesday, and you will note the recommended new total that would get Umatilla County a full burn for the 2025-2029 grant cycle. And Keisha, you're up.
Yeah, so I thought we went down from that 200%, or was that a different spreadsheet?
No, this is where y'all got stuck. There was a proposal to move it down, and then someone said, no, I don't agree with that. It put it back where it was. So this is what is on the table for today. And you'll see that CCS, their award that you awarded to them was $2.1 million, and the proposed new total less 5% is about $1 million less than that at 1.1. Because of staying true closer to their original award, less that additional decrease because of the tax revenue decrease. Keisha, your hand's still up. You got more?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable with the process, but I mean, I'm only me. Like I will understand like if the population doubled or something, but I just still don't see the trying to think of the word for it. I just don't see the reason for it.
Hunter?
I think that while that 200% is large, even though 131%, it's a 31% increase. I also understand that this is because this is how much money the county was allotted. And we voted for those allotments and those caps and all of the things. And I think that after the conversation yesterday, after time to sit last night and to think and to review the slides, I'm at a point now where I would definitely be comfortable making the motion that's on the screen, but I would like to hear more from other members of the council first before I would do something like that.
Sabrina?
I would just also like to say that if Hunter was going to put a motion, I would second it.
Okay.
Sorry, do you say my name? All right. It's yeah, agreed with what Hunter said. And yesterday I thought some of the points that were brought up regarding you know, keeping the money in the counties because that's what we agreed on, and it would be unfair to have these organizations getting measured on a state level instead of a county level. I after having the night to think about it, I do agree with that.
Apologies for my technical difficulties. Carolyn?
Yeah, can you put that back up? Can you put where we're at back up?
Yeah, I think I'm there. Umatilla County?
Well, I don't know. I don't see it. I see everything else.
You're
Alright.
sharing the spreadsheet now. Yeah.
Okay.
1 moment. Sorry. Let's try again. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. I was trying to just minimize it so I could scroll between the slides better. Caroline.
Okay. So
Whew.
let's just, because I think Lakeisha is bringing up a good point, but I think if we look at it a little bit different, it might be easier to understand. So if we go through each column, the 22-23 less capital per year was 149,805. So that is what we removed because capital.
Let me go ahead and just reorient to what the columns mean, okay? So the 2022-2025 less capital per year is basically an operations budget for each entity for that grant period. So on average per year, CCS's award was 150K, not including any capital projects. You all awarded CCS when you voted $2.1 million for a 4-year grant. that averages to $530,000 per year, which is 356% more than their first yearly award, which was $150,000. So bringing that down to $300,000 per year brings it in a little bit more line with their colleague in Umatilla County, the existing EOCIL, which is at 130. So the proposed total grant would be $1.14 million, which is half of what you all awarded them back in whenever you voted for Umatilla, I'm going to say end of February. So if you compare the pink column with this 25-29 OAC award, it is bolded in the middle. That is the comparison of the total grant for over 4 years. Does that make sense?
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're understanding this, because this percentage, it just totally throwing us off. And I think it's not, I don't see the validity in it. Let me say it in that way. Because if you look at the 2.134278 million, and we're giving them less than half from what they requested. And so I just want to make sure I'm reading this right. It's the same with Eastern Oregon Center for Independent. But yet, you know, this whole conversation, again, what I said yesterday, has to do with the $36 million reduction in terms of the forecast. Now we're forecasting minus $36 million. And this is the reason why we're going through this exercise. But yet, we're allowing expansion to occur and new programs. So see, that kind of concerns me, because if we were not to expand or add new programs, they would get almost their original award that they requested. So that's where I'm having, I guess, issue with is the fact of why we're adding new programs when these are existing programs. Why are we expanding? So that's what I was trying to get clarified yesterday, and I don't believe I really got any clarity. Is the fact there isn't enough money. We understand that. So why are we expanding and adding new programs?
Keisha?
Yeah, I guess kind of what Carolyn was saying. Like I don't mind the new programs, but like I'm still stuck on the expansion of almost double or triple their operating budget they had before, because we keep looking at numbers but talking about something different. Like what they asked for is separate from what they received. And I mean, we just had to redo this whole process. So if we keep looking at what we awarded them before based on the formula, it kind of didn't make sense because there's not enough money to really go around for that.
Right, for the first year awards, when you pull those up to the formula, that becomes a real rub, and that is incredibly difficult. I just want to remind you all, these are the votes that you already made. You voted to award these 5 entities. These 5 entities will get an award. Cards, full stop. The question is this appropriate, and are you willing to move forward with this? And if not, please offer a concrete alternative on what you would like that to be. Dharma.
So the percentage change here is from the 2022-25 less capital per year amount.
Correct.
So that's the percentage change. So I guess it's not necessarily like a 200% expansion in the budget of the project, but it's comparatively. I guess my concern is that like we've already voted to fund these grantees, and I think we should stand by our original deliberations. Because I think that we broke things down by county in how we deliberated them. And I think that I don't think there's any guarantee that funds that were excess would go to any specific provider anyways, because because of how things were laid out before. So I would just move to fund the applications in Umatilla County currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
I second that.
Okay, Dharma moves and Sabrina seconds.
I think it's
Discussion? discussion?
I have something, Abby.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So yeah. No, so when we're thinking about the way that my mind works, when we're talking about the percentage, it does look way off, but it totally makes sense to me now that you explained it again. And we also originally voted for them to have a 356% increase, and we were fine pushing that forward, but we're getting stuck on the 200% increase, which is a lower amount than we as a council originally pushed forward the first time. And I agree the percentages are a little bit wonky, and I also agree with the last statements that Dharma just made.
And thank you for that clarification, Sabrina. You are exactly right. Hunter?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate those percentages are throwing everybody off that much. I mean, I agree with the alarmer on those percentage numbers, but the thing is that we're doing this by county, and so with
Slow down, come on. Watch
with
out. Watch out.
with some of the,
Come here.
I think she's wrangling a kid right now. With some of these percentages and some of these counties, there are going to be more funds because that's how much funds are allotted to this county in general, and there's going to be less agencies asking for those funds. So there's going to be more funds available to the agencies. Just that's just the way it's going to go. In some of the larger counties, there's so many agencies asking for the money, and again, there's a county cap with every one. So that's where I'm able to reconcile that percentages with how many agencies were asking for funds, how many we deliberated for in the first place. And so I'm comfortable voting at this time.
A couple more comments. We'll take it to a vote. Keisha?
Yeah, just my last comment. I mean, understand what we voted on and what we wanted to push forward based on the formula. The formula changed, money went down, and I just don't understand giving organizations double what they ask for when the population hasn't doubled, when that money can still be spread for across the county where they don't have all the funding. I mean, it's not too equitable.
Thank you, Keisha. And I just want to make sure I'm clarifying that this is actually giving Community Counseling Solutions half of the award that you originally offered. Morgan?
Yeah, half of the award, but not half of their budget, in which we're going on other counties. We're going from the budget, like that budget right there, their operating budget that they had previously. We're doubling that operating. I know what they asked for, but that doesn't mean it makes sense. I mean, it was like a money grab. If we have all this money, let's ask for more. That doesn't mean that they needed it.
Morgan? Morgan?
Sorry, it's windy. Can you hear me?
Yep, got you.
I just wanted to reiterate Sabrina's clarification. She put it in, that is exactly what I needed to hear to make it make sense in my brain. If the concern is funding expansions, this is actually a solution to that, because we had funded them at a way higher expansion, and this is actually bringing everything in line. So thank you, Sabrina.
All right, and Morgan, just for next time you raise your hand, you're a little muffled. I think I picked up what you said, and I just want to let folks know, just for context, Community Counseling Solutions applied for just shy of $10 million. So again, this is incredibly sobering because just like, let's see what folks got. So, all right, there's motion, there's second, there's discussion. Anything else before Carly takes a roll call vote? Go ahead, Carly.
Okay. Ami,
I just jumped on. I don't know what's happening. Can you come back to me?
absolutely. Caroline,
No.
Dharma,
Yes.
Hubert. Don't know if he got here. Hunter,
Yes.
Jackie,
No.
Keisha,
No.
Mason,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Zeb,
Yes.
and that passes with 7.
And Ami, I know, I'm really glad
Oh.
you're here. I just don't know if you didn't listen to the conversation, but you can see on the screen what the motion is. And it's if you feel like you're prepared to vote, that I believe that's up to you. You don't feel like you want to because you didn't hear the conversation.
It was 7 with passing. Would my vote even count?
I mean, yes, it will count.
Well, I mean, like make a difference is what I mean.
Um, it's up to you. We have 7 yeses and 3 nos right now.
Okay. I'll just pass on this vote.
So.
Okay.
And Ami, you're welcome. If you don't want to be known as Abby Stamp, if you hover your mouse over the little 3 dots on your little square, then you can name yourself whatever you want. You can be Abby, that's cool too. I'm glad to see you. Thank you. Okay.
Not sure what happened.
I sent you my link because I just had mine. It's great. Okay. Okay, we're gonna move on. We're moving on to some East County communities. Want to see if we have any conflicts, and I'm going to read off all the providers, and we're looking at Baker, Harney, Lake, Malheur, and Wallowa counties. New Directions Northwest and Boulder Care and Baker. Symmetry Care and Boulder Care and Harney. Boulder Care and Community Counseling Solutions in Lake. Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living and Lifeways in Malheur, and Boulder Care and Wallowa Valley Center for Wellness in Wallowa. Are there any actual or potential conflicts of interest in these 5 counties? Okay. Hearing none, we're going to move forward. First with Baker County, no changes from your for New Directions Northwest. Recall all new grantees were brought down to, unfortunately, 60% of their of what you awarded them to meet the declining revenue. No change to Symmetry Care in Harney County. I'll just in negotiations need to ensure that they cover the service areas that they indicated on their application, but the budget wasn't quite clear about that. Oh, and again, it's 60% of Boulder Care. And Lake County had no existing applicants. They were only new. And so did not do a reduction in that community because they need to build herd. And it's still well within the formula. And then in Malheur County, Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living and Lifeways just brought both of the awards down a little bit to be more in line with their first year grant as required. Not, never mind. And then also no changes in Wallowa County because the awards were somewhat enough in alignment with their first grant cycle award. Any questions about any of these counties before we move to the final slide? Anybody need to see anything, question anything, comments on Baker, Harney, Lake, Malheur, Wallowa? And here's the totals. Hunter?
I'm definitely comfortable making a motion. I guess I'll go ahead and do that. I move to fund the applications in Baker, Harney, Lake, Malheur, and Wallowa counties currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
I second that.
Okay, Hunter moves, Sabrina seconds, discussion. Oh, Carla, go ahead.
On me, how do you vote?
Yes.
Amy? Is she still in here?
Look, she popped off. Oh,
Okay.
no, she is. She's here. But she must not be with us.
Okay.
I'll send her a text.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hubert? Here. Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yeah.
Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan? Morgan, you can put it in the chat if you can't mute. I can't see if you're still in here. Sabrina?
Yes.
Zeb?
Yes.
And Amy, are you back?
I just sent Amy a text. It looks like Morgan dropped off, but my request is if folks, if you've got stuff going on, because it is coming up on Friday evening, if you could send me a note or put it in the chat so we know who's been listening to the conversation and is able to thoughtfully vote. Sabrina?
Yeah, sometime between the hours of 4 and 5, I have to switch from my work computer to my personal one. So it might be wonky, but I plan on jumping right back on.
Great, thank you. And I think, Carly, did you get everybody who's attending right now?
I did, and that passed with 10.
Okay.
And yeah, we are right at quorum. So if anyone else leaves, we will lose it.
And do we have 11 voting members?
What do you mean?
So like, we love Sam, but Sam doesn't count.
Oh, yeah, but she counts towards quorum.
Okay. So as long as it's Sam's number 12, we're okay.
Yeah. But 10 is quorum. It changed.
Okay, we got Shannon. Shannon?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're watching quorum closely because we're on the line. And I think that if folks aren't coming on to vote, right, then it sort of calls into question whether or not they're present.
Agreed. I think we're okay for this vote. I
Mhm.
sent a note to Amy. Maybe Morgan had connectivity issues. I'll send her a note too. And we'll keep moving on. Okay. Next county group is Gillum, Hood River, Morrow, Sherman, Union, Wasco. I'm going to do a call for conflicts for all of them. In Gillum, for Boulder Care and Community Counseling Solutions in Hood River County, One Community Health, Providence, Hood River, Boulder Care, and Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living. Morrow County's Community Counseling Solutions and Boulder Care Provider Group, Sherman County's Boulder Care Provider Group, and the Columbia Center for Living. Union is Center for Human Development, Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living, and Eastern Oregon Health and Wellness. And Wasco is Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living, Mid-Columbia Center for Living, One Community Health, Youth Empowerment Shelter, Boulder Care Provider Group, and Wasco County Youth Services. Are there any actual or potential conflict of interest in these 6 counties? Okay, great. So for Gillum County, brought the largest award down a little bit to just give them a flat $400,000 a year to be a little more in line with their first grant. Same with Hood River County. Got your numbers there. I know One Community Health looks really, really big. It's a pretty small grant because the percentages and the numbers don't always align, right? The bigger the number, the smaller the percentage. So their first go round NTE was just $121,000. So it looks the 467 to 370 looks bigger than it really is. If that makes sense. All right, community counseling solutions, only needed to adjust to Boulder Care the 60% to be consistent. Sherman County didn't need any changes. Union County, simply brought the smallest one up and a little less, smallest one up and biggest one down, to create more equality with those grants. And then brought the largest ones down in Wasco County. And you'll note that here, One Community Health, your award was 5,400% of their 2022 award, brought it down to 1,200%, but their NTE was $11,000. So it was really, really small. And their total award proposed for the next grant cycle is $190,000. So it's not big dollar amounts. So please don't get concerned. You can be concerned, but I would assuage your concerns because it was such a small amount. Okay. Any questions or comments? Here's all 6 counties for you to see on the whole. Questions, comments? Hunter.
I mean, I would be comfortable making a motion, but I'd want to hear from the rest of the council first. I guess just getting the conversation started.
I'm comfortable with the motion. Hunter.
I would say if folks are comfortable with the motions, to make the motion so we can have a discussion on the motion rather than waiting to make motions.
Agreed. Okay. I move to fund the applications in Gillum, Hood River, Morrow, Sherman, Union, and Wasco counties currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
I second.
Deb seconds, discussion. Okay, now let's do a vote and we'll make sure we're still at 11.
Ami,
Yes.
Amy, are you back? Caroline,
No.
Dharma,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Keisha, Mason,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Morgan, Sabrina,
Yes.
Zeb,
Yes.
and Amy and Morgan. Are y'all back? That passes with 8.
Were there 11 votes total?
There were I'm so sorry. There were 9. We only need 10, but we are missing someone that is here.
Yep, I didn't hear my name.
Keisha,
Yeah.
thank you. Well, that passes with 9. So 9 yeses and 1 no.
I see some confusion. Is quorum at 10 or 11?
It's 10.
Shannon, you affirm that? I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I had forgotten that. So yes, thanks, Carly.
Yeah. And Amy, can you hear me? Hey, you are juggling a lot, and I'm concerned about whether you're going to be able to really see the screen and see what we're talking about. And I'm wondering if this is going to be workable, or if you would like to kind of join back when you can. I know you are juggling so many things, and I just want to make sure that you're able to hear the conversation. Would you let us know what works best for you right now?
The calamity of everything has settled. The dust is clearing. Um, I'm better now. I'm listening now better. I just had a few things I had to take care of right now, but we're back on track and you're loud and clear.
Okay, just want to make sure that you're going to be able to see the numbers that we're voting also. Okay. I'm gonna guess that Morgan has some connectivity problems because she keeps popping in and out. So, okay. We're good enough on that. Congratulations. I think we're moving on, right? We're moving on. We're done. That passed. Yes, yes. Okay. Okay. Picking up where we left off, which is Clackamas and Polk County. So far, we believe Mason has a conflict, but let's double check and see if anybody else also does. Bridges to, in this is Clackamas County, Bridges to Change, Cascadia Behavioral Health Care, Harmony Academy, New Avenues for Youth, Northwest Family Services, Outside and Parrot Creek Child and Family Services, Recovery Works Northwest, The Fourth Dimension, Mental Health and Addiction Association of Oregon, Transcending Hope and Youth Era. And in Polk County itself, Youth Era and Free New Applicants, Older Care Community Services Consortium, and WVP Health Authority, this says Mid Valley. Yeah. Mason.
Yep, that's right.
All right, Mason has a conflict with Youth Era. Does anybody else have an actual or potential conflict with any of these providers in Polk or Clackamas counties? Okay. You will notice that the updated change per year brings folks in more in line between kind of 70 and 90%, kind of bolster up some of those smallest awards. With the proposed new total less than 5%, keep more in line with their first year grant to ensure continuity and service provision. And Polk County, you will see the same deal. And I did want to flag that Polk County's award looks a lot bigger than the rest. And I did think it was important to flag that they are covering almost all of the service areas. So they're the applicant with the most service areas in their application. So questions or comments, and I can go back to Clackamas here and see if anybody has any comments. Back to Polk. Here's the main page here. If someone would like to open up discussion or move forward. Caroline?
So I'm not sure how you guys made the rationale between putting counties together, but because I'm split on my vote. So what was the rationale?
Oh, we just tried to organize it for conflicts so that we could group counties together. We can split them apart pretty easily. Yeah, happy to do that. We just did it because of conflicts and didn't want to have to vote 36 times if there was an easy way to move forward with groups.
Yeah, because like I said, my concern again is expansion and new programs. And so I think if we kept to that rule, we could have been funding the existing programs with higher amounts. So I don't know if I need to make a motion to split this particular one or not, or do we just split it?
I think we just do it. And is Ariana still? She is with us. Ariana, can you hop into the deck and just make a duplicate and we'll split up Fulton and Clackamas? Thank you, I appreciate it. Actually, I can probably do that while I'm in here. I can do this. This is why I have this done here. So first we're going to do Clackamas. And then we'll do both. There, done. So first is Clackamas. Clackamas County. Sorry, Ariana. It turns out I can be somewhat independent. Huh. And then we'll do Polk next. So Clackamas County is on the screen. Dharma.
I just wanted to hear more from Caroline about which concerns they had on which county, sorry.
My concern, which I think I've been consistent, once we made the $36 million reduction, that we really should have considered about expanding services within a county when we have to reduce it by 36 million more dollars. So I understand we have to reduce it by 5%, But I always felt that the solution would be, instead of putting more strain on existing programs that we have funded in the past, that we have added additional programs, or we have expanded programs when there isn't sufficient money. And so we're now removing dollars from existing programs, even though we have to, but I can't, for some reason, get through my mind how we're adding brand new programs when there's not sufficient dollars, that we should have probably, focused on those existing programs. And in addition to that, and I'm not sure if you guys had heard this, but the block grant right now is in jeopardy. That is a pass-through the state. And so now we're going to have less money, or until they come up with a new formula. But right now there's a freeze in terms of the block grant money that's coming through SAMHSA. So I'm kind of concerned again in terms of keeping intact programs that have been here. I'm not against new programs. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we're removing money from existing programs because of the reduction. And so I'm just not in favor of this. So that's the reason why I wanted this particular one split.
Hunter?
For that reason, for Carolyn's concerns, is there any way we can go back to the Polk County? That's, I believe is it Polk? That's the county that, yeah. This is the county that you have concerns with, correct, Carolyn?
Correct.
Okay.
So you all
May I
voted.
say one more thing?
Oh, sorry. Yep, apologies.
If we can go back to the other slide with the percentages and everything on it. So I hear Carolyn's concern. I think that if we look at their 2022-2025 NTE, Polk County got 3.5. With this one, less than 5%, they would be getting 3. And then Youth Era, who was funded before, is actually getting more money this go around than they had before. And so I don't think that we are. So it looks like they're getting 104% and 163%. It looks like the existing burn partners from the previous round of funding are actually getting at least the same or more money per year this round than they were before. And so I don't know if that helps with the concerns, but that's how I'm reading this.
So if you were to separate Polk County from Youth ERA, I don't know if I am moving my screen. Hold on. So you're if I'm reading this right, there's a reduction of $500,000. That's significant.
Yeah, the reduction is from the award that we voted on earlier this year.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And what I'm saying in terms of that, instead of, we could have funded them completely, but now we're at the reduction again. And I know I think I brought up my concern, in the past. We just didn't know we were going to have another $36 million reduction. And so now we have another $36 million reduction. This is the reason why I'm saying is the fact that we're impacting some of these programs, especially when we get to the bigger counties, it's going to be more significant.
Yeah.
We already taken so much away, and now we're adding some new programs. And I know when we had the discussion about the youth, we all felt like this was an important component within the county, and that they did need more money. So that's all I'm saying. I mean, everyone's entitled to vote, but I just have that major concern.
Let's get some more voices in the room. Hunter, your hand is up first. Are you ready to pass the? Oh, no, it's not. Okay. Keisha, you're next.
Yeah. Again, I just feel like we are talking about so many different things at one time. Anything above what we previously funded them for is an expansion. Not what we awarded them, but what we previously funded them for is an expansion. And I don't understand the disconnect with that.
Dharma?
I guess I don't have the same understanding. I guess I just want to stand by the deliberations that we made with the panel and the council earlier this year, in that like we talked through the service areas and those kinds of things before, but I think without having the conversation again about those things, that I don't think that that we're gonna get anywhere with that. And I think that because I think that the allocations here that are being adjusted are based off of what our award was. And I don't necessarily agree that they were all expansions necessarily if it was bigger than what we funded in the 22 to 25 NDE, because it's based on what they needed to keep services this year, right? So it's based on their applications and stuff this year and based off our deliberations on what they needed. So I'm not sure, I guess, that we're comparing the right things here still, but I would move forward.
Amy?
So basically, what I'm noticing just in the couple that we've already voted on, it isn't really going to matter. We can say what we want to say and do what we want to do, but the fact of the matter is the dollars that we were told we were going to have available was not available. It had to lower. And this was an equitable way, I believe, the OHA came up with to spread it around evenly throughout all the counties, and everybody's going through the same thing and all this stuff, right? It doesn't matter where there's never going to be enough money to fund the places that are impacted the most on drugs. And the best thing that we can do is fund what we can fund and deal with it, because it doesn't, if you've noticed, it's not going to matter what we say. We're still going to have to vote on this screen. That's just the way it is. It's not going to change. I mean, we can state it. We can tell them, oh, for a fact that this county didn't measure up as a burn in that area, so we're adding that service because of that, right? Let's say that one of the burns was servicing only the older population, not the younger population, and those people didn't get their needs met for housings or to help them get sober, and there was a 4-month wait list and a 6-month wait list for youth to get in, and there was all this stuff, right? None of that matters. None of that was taken into consideration. So it doesn't matter. What matters is the dollar. It matters that the dollars weren't there that we were told was going to be there, because it was an estimate, not a factual amount. And so this has to be done. It ain't going to matter. And I know some of the counties that had burns that we funded last year some of the burn pit partners didn't even apply. They didn't reapply. So, it just, whether we're expanding or not, we're all there. We went over these applications. Every need is being met. It's just that it has to be met in a smaller amount because the dollars aren't there. It's not that we're cheating anybody. It's just that the money's not there.
Thank you, Amy. And I'll add one clarifying comment, and then Zeb, you are up, and I apologize for jumping in. We were adhering to a very strict timeline to get the intent to award letters out. And so all of these entities have intent to award letters, and they shall receive an award of some quantity. So that is why all of the new entities remain under consideration. Zeb.
Yeah. I value everybody's voice on here. Y'all make great points, for sure. I agree with what Dharma was saying. This went through the grant review process and then to the OAC Council. There's many factors that included why we included new providers in with the existing burn applicants. So I'm comfortable with moving this forward as is. Thank you.
Sorry, I kind of choked on your name. Sam.
No problem. And I apologize. This is just for my own clarification. I just want to make sure when I look at this in sort of the non-highlighted, I guess, areas, these are providers that as a council, they were already voted to be funded, right? And then the yellow are new grantees that have automatic uniform cut in order to come into budget. Is that correct?
So all five entities have been given awards by the
Right.
OAC, right? Yeah. And so the white ones are more in line with their kind of current service level thinking. And then
Okay.
there is no current service level for new grantees. We had to bring it down to 60% plus the additional 5 cut to get within the budget of the 391 million.
So I just didn't want to like oversimplify because I am trying to, I mean, this is a difficult conversation no matter what. When you're looking at the funds that we have versus what the need is, as we've repeated. But I think I'm a loss on the new concerns where it's like the agreement to fund existing providers will happen, and no matter what, we have to make the budget cuts. So I think I'm just trying to understand the newer concerns because in some of it it feels like I have heard, kind of that agreement and understanding, but I want to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Hunter?
If you can put it up on the screen, I think I'm ready to make a motion. I move to fund the applications in Polk County currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
I second.
Hunter moves, seconds. Any more discussion? Okay, Carly, let's do a vote and welcome Hubert. Oh,
Hey,
there,
Hubert.
Keisha, do you have
Hello.
this discussion or voting?
Yeah, real quick, I'm just wondering, like some of these we had agreed to fund and it was depending on if they could bill for Medicaid or whatever the case, at a lower amount, but now it seems like they came back up to a higher amount. Just observation. We can go ahead. Nothing seems to settle in here.
No other discussion? Hey, Carly, vote.
Me, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Amy?
You can abstain.
Caroline?
No.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hubert, are you comfortable voting?
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay. Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
No.
Keisha?
No.
Melissa?
Oh, yes.
Morgan?
Yeah.
Sabrina? Her vote is yes. She put that in the chat. Zeb?
Yes.
And before you count, Carly, unless someone has a conflict, they need to vote yes or a no, or unless they miss the conversation, Hubert. So sorry, Amy, you need to choose one.
So I have to vote yes or no, you saying?
No, Hubert, not you, because you just jumped in.
Oh,
You weren't here.
okay.
No, Amy was here for the conversation unless she lost connectivity during the conversation. Y'all are required to vote yes or no unless you have a conflict or you were late to the discussion.
So do I need to revote?
You need to vote yes or no.
Oh, no.
And that passes with 7.
And Clackamas County, all existing providers at the new totals on the right.
Yes, I motion to fund and I'm not sure if Keisha has a question though, but
Oh, sorry, Keisha, did you have something? Apologies.
No.
Go ahead, Dharma.
I move to fund the applications in Clackamas County currently on screen at the levels noted on the far right column, highlighted in pink, and request OHA send revised notices of intent to award these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
Second.
Okay, Dharma moves, Hunter seconds, any discussion? Okay, Carly.
Keisha, I just want to make sure that's an old hand you have up. Okay. Ami,
I'm just gonna say no.
Amy,
No.
Caroline,
Yes.
Dharma,
Yes.
Hubert,
Abstain.
are you comfortable voting yes or no since you were here for this conversation, or how do
I
we
don't
feel
think he was really here for
for
the
the
I
conversation.
for the
wasn't.
whole
That's why.
discussion?
That's why
Okay,
I just came in
got
at
it.
5 o'clock, so
Got it.
I'm just abstaining.
Hunter,
Yes.
thank you. Jackie,
Yes.
Keisha, oh, I missed that, Keisha.
Yeah.
Thank you. Melissa,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Sabrina, put yes in the chat, and Zeb.
Yes.
And that passes with 9.
Thank you. Moving down to Lane County. So far, we believe there are conflicts with Mason and Hunter and Dharma, but please holler if anybody else has an actual or potential conflict with Addiction and Counseling Education Services, Center for Family Development, Centro Latinoamericano Community Outreach through Radical Empowerment, Daisy Chain, HIV Alliance, Housing Our Veterans, Ideal Option, Laurel Health Center, Looking Glass Community Services, OSLC Developments, Restore Connections, Peer Center, Shelter Care, Transponder, Veterans Legacy, Whitebird Clinic, and Youth Era. Hunter.
I know my name's up there, but I have a
Yeah,
actual
please.
conflict, and I'm going to turn my camera off.
Thank you, Hunter.
Me too. Actual conflict.
Thank you, Mason. And Dharma.
Actual conflict of interest, yeah, Lane County.
Thank you, Dharma. Anybody else? Okay. So these materials, as you know, went out to you a couple times, most recently last night. Bringing all of these awards a little bit closer to their first go round. No new applicants in this community. You've got all of the information you could ever want to have an informed decision, and you see the new total on the right in the pink. Any questions? Here's your summary. Are there any questions?
Can I make a motion?
Absolutely, you may.
I move to fund the applications in Lane County currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and begin negotiations as soon as possible.
I second.
Amy moves, Morgan seconds. Discussion. Okay, Carly, thank you.
Me, how do you vote?
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Caroline,
Yes.
Hubert,
Uh, yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Keisha,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Sabrina. I got your yes in the chat. Zeb,
Yes.
and that passes with 10.
Thanks all. Moving on, Lincoln County, so far known conflicts are Zeb and Dharma, but we'll see if anybody, actual potential conflicts with Chance.
I
Coastal
got a
Phoenix.
conflict. I'm gonna turn my camera off.
Thanks. Coastal Phoenix Rising Community Services Consortium, Faith, Hope, and Charity, Lincoln County Health and Human Services, Phoenix Wellness, Samaritan Treatment and Recovery. And I believe we've had to split out oh yeah, just Lincoln, sorry. Any other, and Dharma?
Yeah, I have a conflict with Lincoln County and Samaritan.
Thank you, Dharma. Any other conflicts of interest? Okay. In Lincoln County, some of the awards were brought up and some were brought down to be closer in line with their previous award for continuity. Any questions?
I move to fund the applications in Lincoln County currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
I second that.
Sabrina seconds. Discussion. Hey, Carl.
Mia, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Amy,
Yes.
Caroline,
Yes.
Hubert, you can put in the chat too, Hubert, if you can't unmute. I'm going to come back to you. Hunter,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Keisha, Keisha, are you still here? I'll check back in on you too. Mason,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Morgan, oh, I got you, Keisha.
And Morgan just came back in. And Hubert's here.
Hubert, are you prepared to vote? Yes. Okay, Keisha and Hubert voted yes in the chat.
Yes. Did we miss me while I was out? Sorry, this Wi-Fi is so terrible. Yes.
Thank you. And Zeb.
That has a conflict. That can't vote.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And I have it all blocked out in red and still call the same. It passes with 11.
Okay. And are we still, so I just heard like someone leaving. Are we still good at quorum? Can you do another check, Carl, please, while we're moving to the next group?
Yes, we are good.
Okay. Everybody doing okay? Can we get through one more batch and then maybe take a 3-minute break or? Okay. Sabrina?
I just want you guys to know that I'm here and I'm listening. And as we go through county by county, I'll put my vote in the chat.
Beautiful. Appreciate you, Sabrina. Thank you. Okay. So far, we do know that Dharma does have an actual conflict for these counties, but let's see if anybody else for Curry, Douglas, Josephine, and Lynn. We've got ADAPT in Curry County and also in Curry Brookings Community Resource Response and HIV Alliance. In Douglas, we've got ADAPT Boulder Care HIV Alliance and Oregon Outreach Clinic. In Josephine, we've got ADAPT Grace Roots Grants Pass Sobering Center, HIV Alliance, Max's Mission on Track, Options for Southern Oregon, and the Family Nurturing Center, and I'll flag. This is your first green. This is an approved appeal from Options for Southern Oregon to provide SET. And last in this group is Lynn County, Addiction Counseling and Education Service, Chance Community Services Consortium, Faith, Hope, and Charity, Family Tree Relief Nursery, Samaritan Health Services, and Allied Health Services, Tigard, CRC Health. Any other conflicts? Go ahead, Dharma, with yours.
Yeah, I just have a conflict with HIV Alliance and in all the counties, and then Samaritan in Lynn County.
Thank you, Dharma. Any other conflicts of interest, potential or actual? Okay. So slightly brought down ADAPT and Brookings to be closer to 100, and HIV Alliance new at 60%. Here's ADAPT, Boulder Care and HIV Alliance in this community in Douglas County, Oregon Outreach Clinic. Same ones here. A little more equality between those numbers. And then Lynn County. I wanted to note that you see Chance came up from 37%. They were really the outlier here where it says change from year from 22-25. They were only at 37%, like significantly less. Brought them up to 74% of that total amount from their previous NTE. You'll see it's so significantly bigger than any other of the burn partners. And they are the only provider with a large investment in housing. I'm looking back at your deliberations. So that's the summary for Lynn County. Any comments or questions or discussion? Not discussion. That's not yet. We'll do that in a minute. Okay. Here's the total here for this community. Hunter?
I move to fund the applications in Curry, Douglas, Josephine, and Lynn counties currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
Hunter moves.
Second that.
Mason seconds. Discussion? Okay. Carly, roll call vote, please.
Mia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Caroline?
No.
Hubert? Hubert, you can put in the chat again if you need to. Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
I'm just checking the number here. Is there anyone that was funded before that because we added a provider is not going to be funded well enough to be open?
We don't know that level of specific. We don't know that level of specific yet, Jackie, because we've been unable to engage with providers.
I see.
Once we finally get this done, we can reach out and have those conversations.
Okay.
But is there anything you want me to go back to?
No, I was just trying to understand kind of that part because I know there was somebody that was, prior votes. There was a program that was not funded. I'm not sure we would have made that decision if we realized that, but I could be wrong. But anyway, that's kind of where I've been kind of stuck. But so okay, I vote yes.
Thank you. Keisha?
I abstain because I got knocked out of the conversation.
Uh-oh, I'm sorry. Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Sabrina, I got your yes in the chat, and Zeb,
Yes.
and that passes with 9.
Okay. Let's keep moving. Next up, Jackson County. Believe conflicts are with Mason Leticia, who's actually traveling tonight, and Dharma. Do an additional call for conflicts with Addiction Recovery Center, HIV Alliance, Jackson County. La Clinica, Max's Mission, Oasis Center, Rogue Valley, On Track, Options for Southern Oregon, Reclaiming Lives, Rogue Community Health, Stab and Wagon, the Family Nurturing Center, the Pathfinder Network, Youth Era, Painted Horse Recovery, and the Fourth Dimension Recovery Center. Any other conflicts? And if y'all with actual conflicts, if you could unmute yourself and state those conflicts, please.
I have a conflict with Youth Era.
And an actual conflict with HIV Alliance.
Thank you, Donna. Okay. So as per usual in Jackson County, brought the largest awards down to be closer in line, not completely, because you already made an award, so we're anyway, just not going to completely have them away. Brought smallest awards up. And please note that Rogue Community Health asked for less in this next grant cycle than they did in the first grant cycle, which is why that looks like a bit of an operation. And also note that HIV Alliance had a very small grant in 22-25. Some of the numbers look like that. So, comments, questions? Hunter?
I move to fund the applications in Jackson County currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
Second?
Hunter moves, Morgan seconds. Discussion. Okay, Carly, go ahead and vote. I have a dog drooling on me. I'm gonna go feed him. I'll be back on screen as soon as I can.
Ami, did you make it back? I think she had to step away. Amy?
Sure. Yes.
Caroline?
No.
Hubert? Oh, he had to step away. Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yeah.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Sabrina? Got your yes in the chat. And Zeb?
Yes.
That passes with 8.
I'm not trying to vote, but did we have quorum there? Just making sure.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Next is Klamath County. We know Sabrina has a conflict, but let's check on anybody else for Lutheran Community Services, Max's Missions, or Transformations. Go ahead, Sabrina.
I have an actual conflict with Transformations because I am employed there, and I'll be, well, my camera's off and I'm already on mute.
Thank you, Sabrina. Anybody else? All right, pretty straightforward here. Simply brought 2 down and brought 1 up to get each a little closer to 100 without completely breaking the decisions you previously made. So, any questions? Here's your summary page for Klamath County.
I move to fund the applications in Klamath County currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
Second.
Morgan moves, Hunter seconds. Discussion. Thank you.
Ami, did you come back? Amy?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hubert? Are you here? Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Keisha,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
and Zeb.
Yes.
Oh, give me 1 second. My formula fell out. That passes with 10.
Awesome job. Let's keep moving. We got Benton County, and I think Dharma and Zeb are our conflicts, but let's double check. Anybody else have an actual potential conflict with Benton County Health Department, Chance, Corvallis Housing First, Family Recovery Nursery, Family Tree Relief Nursery, Pathfinder Clubhouse, or Phoenix Wellness Center? Dharma,
I have a conflict of interest with Benton County Health Department.
can you say that a little louder?
Mike, sorry. I have an actual conflict of interest with Benton County Health Department. I work with them right now.
Great, crystal clear. Thank you, Zeb.
You have a conflict with Phoenix Wellness Center. Maudie.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Same story. So just note Corvallis Housing First 2025 grant was very, very small, which is why that looks pretty big, even though it's a modest grant. And that chance application asked for less than their initial award, which was 1.7. So just noting that as you're looking at the numbers, it might have a moment. So I think Dharma has her hand up on accident, so we're going to go with Hunter.
I'm comfortable making a motion. Oh, here it is. I move to fund the applications in Benton County currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
Second. Oh, sorry, Mason.
I'll get the next one, whatever.
Hunter moves, Morgan seconds. Discussion. Okay, Carly, vote please.
Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline,
No.
Huber?
Yes.
Oh, you are here. Hunter,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Keisha,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Sabrina votes yes in the chat, and Zeb has a conflict. Sorry, give me 1 moment. That passes with 9.
Thank you so much, Carly. Before we move into these two counties, I want to ask Caroline. I'm hearing you, and I'm also wondering if you would like these two counties, Coos and Marion, split apart.
Yes, I would.
Okay. Ariana, would you mind my colleague attacking slide 68, turning it into 2 while I go through conflicts? Thank you so very much. So we do know that Dharma and Mason both have conflicts with organizations with Coos and Marion. One, I'll see if anybody else does. In Coos County, it's Adapt Berry, A First Step, Coos Health and Wellness, HIV Alliance, and Youth Era. In Marion County, Bridgeway, HIV Alliance, Ideal Option, Iron Tribe Network, Marion County, the Pathfinder Network, Boulder Care Provider Group, Community Services Consortium, Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, Painted Horse Recovery, Soaring Hearts Recovery Homes, the Fourth Dimension Recovery Center, and Youth Era. Dharma.
I have an actual conflict of interest with HIV Alliance in both counties, and then a potential conflict of interest with Marion County in Marion.
Thank you. Mason.
I have actual conflicts with Youth Era in both.
Thank you. We're going to hop up to Coos County and take a look at just trying to even out these wards a bit and see if folks have any questions about Coos. Okay, and here's Coos County, alone by itself, not paired with anybody else.
Can I make a motion to, can I make a motion?
Of course.
I move to fund this application in Coos County currently on the screen at the levels noted on the far right column highlighted in pink and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
Amy moves.
Second.
Hunter seconds. Any discussion? Carly, go ahead.
Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Hubert?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Sabrina, I have your yes in the chat. And Zeb?
Yes.
That passes with 10.
Right. I'm gonna pop back up here to Marion County, where initially you all voted in a lot of new organizations. And take a look there. Watching your faces for when to click down to the next. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Keisha.
Yeah, I was just looking at those numbers and I seen, is that Marion County? Is that did we vote to fund them that much, $10 million?
Hold on.
I caveat, I don't feel comfortable giving any organization $10 million and another organization most impacted by the war on drugs. It's insane to me.
Oh, here we go. So Marion County, their 2022 to 2025 grant was $11 million, which was just over $3 million a year. I'm looking kind of through the right. You awarded them $3.4 million, which was 27% of their first grant. Bringing them up to 79% of their first award is a total of 10 million, less 5% is 9.5.
But we voted 3.4 million though, and you guys gave them 10 million.
We didn't give them anything. You all are the ones who vote. However, the intent was to stay at a current service level, which would put them at that amount because of the initial award that you voted on as a council when they first were granted in 2022.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes we talk about the formula and other times we go back to this and it's confusing. But like you said, we voted though 3.4 million to give them 3.4 million.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big difference for me. Okay.
Hubert.
So this is the number. That number right there is a number that I know we voted for these numbers and stuff like that, but for a county, for a whole county to get that much money, you know, and that's not the only entity that's gotten large amounts of grant money. You know, it's kind of interesting to me that we're getting, because I was talking to the auditors today, right? And I was saying that we've given a lot of money to a lot of the same organizations, a lot of the different counties that comes to a lot of money. And if they're taking, if one organization is taking large chunks of this money, right, it's going to make other organizations not get the money they need to operate. And I'm just saying that we probably can't change this now because we're in the middle of funding. But I think as a council, we need to take a look at how we funding people going forward. And then, you know, because it's just not very, even if we're doing this, it's still unequal and it's not going to be equal. But the funding, if there's not enough money, then it's just hard to see that some people can get all this money and some people don't get enough money to operate, you know, because the county is a large operation, right? And they got many streams of money coming from many places, if I'm not mistaken. And I just wanted to put that out there. This is one of the things I told the auditors that I see that probably we should take a look at, you know. I just wanted to say that.
Sabrina. Sabrina, did you have your hand up, Sabrina?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was talking and I didn't know that I was on mute.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
said
Go ahead.
it's all the way up until this point. I agree that we had to make hard decisions and we had to do a lot of cuts and things that none of us felt 100% comfortable about. But I also agree with Keisha and Hubert in this instance, going from 3 million to the amount that we're giving them now just gives me a little bit of heartburn, and I don't really feel comfortable with that amount. And I could see there's other new providers and there's other people providing culturally responsive services. Like if I can remember from the first time we voted, I felt more comfortable dividing that money up a little bit more.
Morgan.
I just, I'm not sure what the capacity of Marion County is, like, because the point of this, right, is to not reduce services that are already in action. And if they got $11 the first time, it's still less in absolute dollars. Everything's more expensive now. So that's still a reduction. But I just worry about some of the counties because, like it or not, they are providing a lot of services in their areas and they're getting huge reductions in funding coming from the federal government. Huge reductions. So I just want us to have more capacity for treatment. That's what, so I mean, I feel comfortable with this when we're looking at it comprehensively. It's just giving it a bit of logic. And so we're not slashing services. That means at the initial 3 million, programs are going to close. People who are currently getting treatment through Marion County are not going to be able to get that anymore. So
Keisha, then Zeb.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah. I don't know that programs were closed or any of that. We don't know any of that. And it's the local mental health authority in which they have other funding streams. But we are not responsible for all the other grants and things that are closing. All we have is this little pot of money. And it's very diverted from those most impacted on the war on drugs. We keep giving all this money, and those most impacted by the war on drugs are suffering and dying. And we're like, okay, oh well, like we voted 3.4 million. Now we're going to give an organization 10 million. It just doesn't sit right. And whoever thinks it does, I don't know.
Zeb.
Hi. Yeah, I agree with like Sabrina. Up until this point, I've been it's been tough decisions, but in this particular case for that particular organization, yes, it was like yesterday that there's a lot of community-based organizations as well that were notified that their grants that they were being funded under were being stopped, like right then and there. So I mean, it's affecting, I don't know about the county stuff, but it's definitely affecting community-based organizations. With that, those federal funds being froze. And so in this, I mean, I agree with Keisha on this one. This is a hard one for me to vote yes on.
So yeah, everybody is being impacted, public, private, and across the board, right? If y'all don't like what you see here, I need someone to give me a proposal of something different so that you can figure out what works for this community and we can get the dollars out the door. Caroline, do you have a proposal you'd like to offer?
No, I just want to offer some clarity because we seem to make, I think, some statements, maybe with not complete understanding. So you're looking at programs here versus the county. When a county, because I worked for the state for 21 and a half years with the Addictions and Mental Health Division, there was never enough money with the block grant or the general funds, beer and wine tax, that gave sufficient dollars to any county. When you have a county, how many cities do you have within the county? So when you look at it from that perspective and you compare it with a program who just serves maybe a certain amount of area, they don't always serve the whole county. Counties has to serve every city within the county. And so $10 million in Marion County, when you look at the multiple cities, does not go very far. And so we seem to be, in my opinion, attacking the community mental health providers, which they generally be counties, and they don't have enough money to serve all the cities. And so I just want to clarify that. And again, I'm going to go back to what I originally said, is that one of the solutions then, because we have to reduce $36 million, is that we probably should have started looking at expansion programs or new programs so these other entities will not suffer more. But I'm going to be consistent in how I'm voting. And even though I've been outnumbered, I just want to go down in record is the fact that when you don't have enough money, you don't bring in new programs or you don't expand programs. Now, the conditions were a little bit different when we went through all these, where we already reduced the money, but we sort of came through these conclusions, but the scenario is different. But yet we're not changing our set of eyes. So I just want to make that statement, because that is my solution, we might have to go back and look at some of the new programs that, because I don't believe I was involved with the Marion County. I don't believe I could attend that meeting, but this is a lot. You know, when you add all the numbers of the new programs, and I'm not disagreeing with the fact that these programs is not going to add value to Marion County. I'm just saying that we should have considered that, and we didn't. And so now we're in this dilemma with Marion County where there appears to be so many yellows and in comparison. And I'm not really sure, what could be done, because I think every one of these are valuable to add to the county.
Go ahead, Morgan.
I've heard this a few times. I just want to clarify any analysis we're taking on who is impacted by the war on drugs needs to be intersectional. If you are saying that I was not impacted by the war on drugs, when I have served 5 years in federal prison, when they tried to give me 20 years on a mandatory minimum for my best friend's overdose, if you are saying that all of my friends from East County, from Centennial, were not impacted by the war on drugs, I have more friends who've been to prison than have college degrees. We lived our whole lives cycling in and out of jail. That was just a reality. Why? Because we were poor. Because class intersects with race. These analyses have to be intersectional. We were poor. We all dropped out of high school. We were very impacted. Where did I get my syringes from? The county. I wasn't driving to outside in. That was in downtown. That might have been the opposite ends of the earth. Who served East County was Multnomah County. That is where I got my syringes every Wednesday on 119th and Stark from 3:30 to 5:30. And every time that I hear this, it's rural areas have higher incarceration rates than urban areas. We just need to take these more broad intersectional things of who is being impacted by the war on drugs, because, I lost years of my life and was put in a federal prison where now 20 of the guards have been arrested for sexual assault and harassment. And they told me that was justice. every day and wore American flags. And then to hear over and over in this meeting that because my skin is white, I was not impacted by the war on drugs. I can't, y'all. Class is so important. They pit us against each other. This has been happening for centuries.
Melissa?
I want to acknowledge that the war on drugs was multidimensional. However, the communities that were most impacted, of course, there's individuals in various communities, especially those that were poor, especially those that were rural. But I need to acknowledge that the communities that were most impacted by the war on drugs were the African American and Latino communities. So this does not mean that other communities were not impacted. Of course, those that were poor were impacted. Of course, those that were in rural areas were impacted. But if you were someone that was poor and in rural area and Black, you maybe been more impacted. And so I just want to acknowledge that those two groups of the African American and Latino communities are the ones that have been most impacted, just for factual statements. Again, still acknowledging that, yes, of course, other individuals were also impacted. But if we're talking generalization, if we're talking umbrella terms, the most impacted were African American and Latino communities.
Thank you. I mean, that is unequivocally true. We see all the data in that. I'm pretty sure if I were Black, I would have got that 20-year mandatory minimum sentence, right? I'm pretty sure that I would be in prison right now. And so just absolutely. But instead of, I just really just want to thank you for just recognizing that, though, just because it impacts communities in different levels of severity, intergenerational, but many communities were impacted. And I just want us to hold that in our mind when we're making these decisions.
Hubert's got his hand up, and then I'm going to take the mic.
See, now we're talking about the reality of this measure and how interesting it is about how we're supposed to fund different agencies based on the what was brought about. It's interesting that this measure even came to the state of Oregon in the first place, because the state of Oregon is such a white state, right? And this measure is supposed to impact the communities that was most impacted on the war on drugs. Oregon, the communities most impacted were communities that were mostly Black and Latino that stayed in Multnomah County, to be honest, right? And then we just didn't have any resources to help to how can I say this, to get us what we needed as a community. So when this measure came about, that looked like an opportunity to build more resources for people of color to have what they needed culturally as far as treatment and services. So that was the opportunity that brought this came about. And so, but then when it was brought to the whole state, everybody had to vote on it. So everybody wants the monies to fund their organizations, and that's what's making it tough. So, I just think we got to get through this, because we're not going to rewrite the rules and how it's supposed to look. But I think in the future, we need to take a hard look at what this money's really for, and that's just my opinion. Thank you.
And I appreciate this conversation. And you need to make a decision. So y'all are having some discomfort with the $9.5 million award to Marion County. By the way, their application asked for $15 million. What would you like to see, and who do you want to see get it within Marion County? I would like someone to make an offer, because we need to move this conversation forward. Caroline.
I think we vote, because that's what we have to be consistent with the other counties. I think we vote on this one, and If we have more no's, then yes, then we have to come back and return to Marion County.
Would you like to make a motion, Caroline?
Well, I'm going to vote no, but I can make the motion, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I move to fund the application Marion County currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column, highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
A second.
Okay, Caroline moves, Sabrina seconds.
Wasn't it
Motion,
Amy?
you all want to vote and see where it goes?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Carly.
Ami, I don't believe that she is back yet. Amy.
Yes.
Caroline.
No.
Hubert.
No.
Hunter.
Yes.
Jackie.
Me and my dog say no.
Thank you. Keisha.
No.
Melissa.
No.
Morgan.
Yes.
Sabrina. Oh, Sabrina says no in the chat. And Zeb.
No.
We have 3 yeses and 7 noes. So it does not pass.
Okay. I would like folks to think about how you would like to get Marion County to okay. And we're going to move on to the remainder 2 counties while you think about that. And please write some notes. You have all of the slides, you have all of the information to come back with an offer to get the final decision. Sound okay? We're moving on to Multnomah County. All right. We believe Keisha, Ami, Melissa, and Dharma, question mark, have conflicts. So I'm going to read out all of the, it's 2 pages of awardees. Please holler if you have an actual or potential conflict. Alano Club, Bridges to Change, Cascadia, Central City, Coda, Fresh Outgoing Home, Iron Tribe, Juntos, Lutheran, Metro Plus, Morrison, New Avenue for Youth, Northwest Family Services, Northwest Instituto Latino de Acciones, OHSU, Oregon Change Clinic, Outside In, Painted Forest, Portland Street Medicine, Prison Health, Project Patchwork, Project Quest, Providence, Raphael House, Southeast Works, Sovalti, Fourth Dimension, Everly Project, Insight Alliance, Mariecki Institute, Mental Health Addiction Association of Oregon, Miracles, the Pathfinder Network, Volunteers of America, Women First, Yazmin's Love, and the only new applicant, African Refugee Immigrant Organization. So we've got, I believe, Keisha, Ami, Melissa, and Dharma, if you could vocalize your conflicts.
I have a potential conflict of interest with Maria Center.
Yeah, I have a conflict of interest. I mean, interest, sorry. With the Miracles Club and Metro Plus.
I do not have a conflict of interest.
Ah, thank you. And Ami?
I believe she may still be on the phone. She had to step away for a minute.
Okay, well, she has previously asserted a conflict of interest with Miracles. Anybody else have a conflict with any of these orgs? Okay. So everybody, you got all these beforehand. And so you see basically the summary statement here, we brought some down. Sorry, only brought OHSU down. You'll see their award for the first grant cycle was $5,000 a year. And so a 1,700% increase is not really a thing. So their new award is still quite minimal, even though they asked for quite a bit, but creates more equality, updated year per change per year within the formula-ish, give or take, brought most of the organizations up a smidge and some down a smidge. And here's page 2. Questions, comments?
I move to fund the applications in Multnomah County currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
Mason?
I second that.
Okay, Hunter moves, Mason seconds. Any discussion on Multnomah County? All right, go ahead, Carly.
Amy, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Caroline?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Hubert?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Abstains in the chat for conflict of interest.
Oh, thank you. I completely missed hers. Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Sabrina? Thank you, Sabrina. I have your yes from the chat. And Zeb. And
Yes.
that passes with 9.
Okay. Moving to Washington County, we think the conflicts, and you'll correct us, is Keisha, me, Linda actually is not here tonight. Jackie and Dharma, the applications are awardees, excuse me. Bridges to Change, Coda, Forest Grove Foundation, HIV Alliance, Ideal Option, LifeWorks Northwest, Lutheran, Northwest Instituto Latino, Sequoia Mental Health, Fourth Dimension, Mental Health Association of Oregon, Miracles Recovery Gym, Virginia Garcia, Washington County, African Refugee Immigrant Organization, and Allied Health. So the bottom 2 are the new grantees that you awarded to, and then the green ones are the approved appeals. There you go. Same story, different day. Same story, different county.
I have a conflict of interest with the Miracles Club.
Okay.
Actually.
And Dharma?
I have an actual conflict with HIV Alliance.
Okay. And Jackie, you too?
I don't think I do. Do I? Not Washington County.
Okay. Apologies for that. And Ami was still had to take a phone call.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back. Hey, you have a conflict in Washington County?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Looking at what's on the screen, any questions or comment? Not comments, any questions?
I move to fund the applications in Washington County currently on the screen at levels noted in the far right column highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
Second.
Morgan moves, Hunter seconds. Discussion?
Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline?
No.
Hubert?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Sabrina, I have your yes in the chat. And Zeb?
Yes.
And that passes with 9.
Suggestion or recommendation for your colleagues to consider about the funding disbursement across these providers? Morgan.
Can I ask something before we begin deliberations on this county? Sorry, I have a conflict, so I just wanted to ask. in
Oh,
general?
sure. Same conflict stand. So that's Dharma and Mason.
So before we get to talking about Marion County, I'm just wanting some clarification on new grantees that were added into these pools. Were they all voted in by us before? Like every single new grantee in all the counties?
Absolutely.
And so there was no additions after based on what we voted on.
Oh, no, not at
Okay.
all. No.
The things that were changed were the rationale on the funding in the last columns for all the counties. That's right.
So the only difference between the yellow and the white is the updated change per year is that all of the existing providers were kept as whole as possible and equally across the board, every new awardee was capped at 60%
Thank you.
before the 5% off everybody.
Okay. Thank you.
So
Sorry.
really 55 off. Yeah. Right. So in the middle, it says 25-29 OAC award. Those were the awards you granted. And to value your determination that existing grantees were paramount, but you already voted to award folks. I just reduced those by what felt like heartbreaking, but more than any other existing grantee. So thank you, Dharma. Morgan.
So just to be consistent, because so far we've kept the same votes that we voted on previously. So I think these are the organizations we're working with.
That's right.
So I would reduce Marion County's perhaps to $2 million a year, or I would hear other council members say, but my initial inclination is to say to drop them $2 million a year, which is about 25%, maybe less. Math is hard, 20%. From where they're at now, and then
Let's
see how
bring
people
the
feel
total
about that.
award to 7.6 million.
Yeah.
Hunter?
Okay, so that we would be taking away if they're 25, they got 2.5 a year. We would be taking away the 0.5, right? If that's a 4-year grant, then we'd be left with $2 million. My question, I guess, is to Morgan and the rest of the council. If we're comfortable with taking that from the county, where would we put it back? And I think that we would want to be looking at culturally specific services for that money, right? Just throwing it out there.
She's got her hand up, says thumbs up thing. Yeah, actually, Ariana, bless her, has offered to do some live math. Would y'all like Ariana live math show on your Friday night? Great. I'm gonna
Game
stop.
show.
Just gonna stop screen sharing. Thank you so much, Ariana.
Keisha has her hand up.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Keisha.
Yeah, sorry, the screen disappeared on me. But I would, I would really look at reducing Marion County 5 million. I mean, we voted them 3.4. We're still giving them another 1.6, 5 million, and spread it across the other organizations.
So cutting what we're giving them in half and spreading the rest of that 5 million, like on an even percentage across the other organizations. Keisha, what you're saying?
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was trying to see how many organizations it was though, but yeah, something like that.
So, between the existing providers or all including the new applicants as well?
All. I think on this county, we voted in some gaps that were missing. So, I mean,
And
yeah.
okay, and I'd like to check with Ariana. Are you prepared to live math? There's formulas in there, so careful. They're a little slippery. Hopefully they're.
Yes, I am working on that. I'm working on getting it set up, so I'm not exactly there yet, but I am very close.
Thank you so much. We'll listen to, so there were two offers on the table. One is to reduce Marion County to 2 million a year, and the other is to cut it in half. So that's what I've heard. Keisha, your hand is still up. Do you have more to add, or can I go to Amy? Amy.
Did you call me?
Yes, I called you.
Okay, good. I thought you did. Sorry. So my question is, I thought if we were cutting funding from people, that money was to go into a fund pot.
No, that is not. We're going to allocate all the funds to Marion County.
I thought that we weren't able to do that.
Yeah, I got further clarification. I did too. But after further, digging around, OHA, that the direction is to allocate all of the funds, period.
So is that going to happen to the counties that we already voted on?
Yeah, so I sent you new materials last night. And the counties that had the biggest holes or deficits are the counties that we talked about today.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Caroline.
I don't agree.
What do you
I don't agree with that much of a reduction of the county when they have to address all the cities. I mean, how many cities are in Marion County? I mean, so I don't agree that we reduce them by almost half.
What do you recommend?
Well, I think my solution was, again, why are we adding new programs? And so, I mean, why is Boulder Care? I mean, is there a need with all these programs to have telehealth when I know that these other entities do telehealth? I mean, I wouldn't reduce the existing programs. I would reduce the new programs because they're brand new and these others are existing and we already reduced them. And so, I don't agree with reducing the existing programs at all.
You guys are going to have to figure out how to come to consensus on this in the next 10 minutes. Hunter.
Well, I hear everybody's valid points. I am comfortable with Morgan's solution. I think that because two reasons. Because the county has so many individuals already in treatment and they do a wide variety of things. Yes, they have money coming from all different places, but anybody who's ever been in services at the county knows that they don't have enough money either. And like Carolyn said, they've got a lot of places. They've got a lot of it's, there's different cities in that county. So I think with that, if we go with what Morgan said and we reduce them by $2 million, which would be a half a million, $500,000 a year, that still is reducing services from the 2022-2025 NTE. We are still cutting the services that Marion County has been providing and is able to provide going forward. So I think I'm at least definitely leaning towards, if not totally in agreement. I believe I'm totally in agreement with what Morgan is saying. Of course, as always, I'm open to what the rest of the council has to say, but I think cutting those services in half is reducing so many services that have been going for years now that we stood up, that subset of services from the county. And so I don't want to cut treatment to people who are currently in it right now. What I would be interested in is if we cut $500,000 a year, we're left with $2 million of I don't want to say surplus, but $2 million in the pot. Where does the council, Morgan, where does that go?
Keisha?
Yeah. I would say we were comfortable. We voted to give Marion County 3.4 million. So I'm not understanding all this cut and deficit. We went over it and over it. And with the new administration, counties outsource to culturally specific organizations and different things to handle them populations. And it might not happen that way. So that's why I veer towards giving money to these culturally specific organizations to do the work that they probably we're contracted through the county to do, but they can do standalone with no red tape.
Morgan, couple more comments and then I'd love for y'all to start some negotiation and find a pathway forward.
I mean, I was gonna make a motion and just put it to a vote, see if it passes.
Well, okay, we got to make sure that whatever's being, if you want to make a motion for a final funding decision, we need to have Ariana catch up and know what she's working with. Because right now she's just like, she's heard half, she heard take 2 million off. There's a couple of.
Ariana, what do you got ready for us?
I am ready.
Okay, can we see the $500,000 off? I'm sorry, $2 million reduction for Marion County?
$2 million, so 7.5 million, right?
Yes. And then I think per Caroline's point about pre-existing providers, that surplus should get reallocated, restricted to the existing providers if they got hit. But I'm amenable to other solutions there. Could go either way.
So you have 5 other existing providers. Should it just be divided 5 ways?
And I believe that's what Morgan is suggesting. Hunter, your hand's up, and Keisha, your hand's up, but they've been up, so I'm not sure who's next or if you have additional comments. Keisha?
Hunter could go.
No, go ahead. I put my hand up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not enough people like paying attention and getting in the conversation, and then I feel like it's just landing on deaf ears, and I don't know.
Okay. I hear you, Keisha. So my question to you, Keisha, is if we reduce the 2 million from the county, what providers, culturally specific providers would you like to see that money go to?
So that wasn't my go-to. It wasn't 2 million. When we already voted to give Marion County 3.4 million. Now they're at 10 million. I was comfortable with giving them 5 million and spreading the other 5 million amongst the other organizations. It wasn't like it wasn't something we already voted.
Caroline?
So Anisha, that's 3 billion per year multiplied by 4, or is it 3? To get up to, they're not getting $10 million per year.
Yeah, but when we first voted this, their whole award amount was 3.4 million. That's what we voted to give them.
There were equity issues in our first vote. That's why we're coming back to it.
Right, and I still don't feel comfortable giving them $10 million. I mean, I don't know.
All right. So this is starting to just be camps of folks wanting to cut Marion County's award or potential award in different shapes and forms. I would really encourage folks to find a way to come to a middle and find a compromise, or someone can just call a vote and do it.
I'm at the point to just go back to the original one and not mess around with this anymore because of the fact I don't think we're going to come to the agreement and we're going to be here till midnight. So I'm going to go back to the original vote.
All right, Caroline, okay, going back, and then Hunter, then Hubert, and then I want Ariana to tell us what she's got.
I'll second that, Caroline.
I'll go ahead and defer to Hubert. He's been here longer than me.
Go ahead, Hubert.
Okay. So Marion County is a whole county, and I was hearing there's a lot of cities in Marion County. So how many culture-specific programs are in this county? Does anybody know? Nobody knows, huh?
Well, I don't know the number, but I do know that Marion County, when I worked for the state, there was multiple cities within the county that were
Right.
being served who were culturally, I mean, they're like
Right.
Woodburn is a very huge
Right.
Latino, community.
Right.
The old Russian
Right.
Believer is another large, community. There was
Right.
a pretty large Asian community, and that was scattered.
Right.
And so Marion County is very, very diverse. And I think Marion
Right.
County, are they like the third or the fourth largest?
I think so.
And
I
so,
think
yeah,
so.
so they are very, very diverse in terms of the people who
Right.
I knew at that time.
As I think about that, I was thinking about Marion County, and I know there's a lot of Latino and a lot of groups that are culturally specific. And then so with that being said, $10 million over 4 years, and since we're funding the whole county, it kind of makes sense to me. We can't fight about this right now because we just got to get the money out the door, like I said before, and then maybe we could be a little bit more thorough when we have to talk about this when we have our council meetings after the fact. So I'm thinking perhaps let's just vote on it as is and move forward. That's where I'm at this point with
All
that.
right. I'm
All
hearing
right.
Hubert, Morgan just gave a thumbs up. I think Keisha and Caroline and Hunter, you want to go back to the original and vote on that. So Ariana, so no Ariana math. Back to
I
the
want
Senate.
not the original we voted on in the first place.
Oh, I don't, that's not consensus there. So, all right, how can I help you guys unstuck? I would like Ariana to very briefly
Hubert, make a
describe
motion.
what. Is someone ready to make a motion? Great, do it.
I would like to make a motion to fund Marion County. I can't read, for the original amount on the screen. Can y'all put the motion up?
Hold on, let me copy it from the slide deck. Hold on a second.
I put it in the
The
chat.
chat would work too, whatever. Okay. Oh, I don't see it in the chat. Do you send it to everyone? There. Okay. I move to fund the applications in Marion County currently on the screen at the levels noted in the far right column, highlighted in pink, and request that OHA send revised notices of intent to award to these applicants and to begin negotiations as soon as possible.
Second.
Okay, Morgan moves, Hunter seconds, discussion. Okay, let's vote. Carly?
Ami, how do you vote?
No.
Amy?
Abstain.
Were you here for the discussion?
Are we not allowed to do that at all anymore?
No, you're not allowed to abstain.
Oh, okay, then.
Conflict.
I'm sorry, was that a yes? You cut out. Thank you. Caroline?
Yes.
Hubert?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Keisha?
No.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Thank you. Sabrina?
No.
And Zeb?
Yes.
And that passes with 8.
All right, thank you, Carly. Thank you, Ariana. You can stop screen sharing. We have one more business item to attend to, and then we can all go have evening. It's gonna, I don't, it's.
Question.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
If there's any math errors left over, are we gonna have to revote on things?
There shouldn't be any math errors. We'll triple check it, but no, yeah, if any, I'll bring it to you immediately if there is a math error.
Okay.
She sounds worried. Okay. Um, that's humbling. So let's look at Tillamook County here. Unallocated funds and gaps in Tillamook County. The Tillamook County's burn applications did not include service areas for screening and assessment. Those unallocated funds are $571,355.91. And here is a proposed motion for your consideration to ensure that those service areas are covered in Tillamook County. Hunter.
I move to allocate $571,355.91 to Tillamook County's burn, and that OHA contact an existing Tillamook County burn applicant to establish grant agreements for screening and assessment. If no Tillamook County burn applicants are able to conduct screening or assessments, OHA shall seek those services from another applicant.
A second.
Seconds, any discussions? Okay, Carly.
Me, how do you vote?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hubert?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes, I vote yes.
Thank you. And Zeb?
Yes.
That passes with 13.
Thank you for that. That is the business for tonight. I'll turn it back over to Dama for her facilitation.
Thanks, folks. I'm just gonna leave it there. Give folks the rest of their time back. Thank you so much. Sabrina?
I just wanted to check if we're still meeting in the morning.
No, we're not meeting tomorrow. There's no meeting tomorrow.
Thank you,
No.
guys.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, everybody.